Trina B. I am here with Courtney Jeter. Today we will be speaking with her as a part of our Women of Life series for Girl Let's Talk Atlanta. Hi Courtney, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on your interview series.
You're welcome, It's a pleasure to meet you. So can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what you do?
I can. I am a marriage and family therapist in the state of Georgia. I'm a certified sex therapist as well. So most of the work that I do is around sexuality with couples, individuals, in private practice.
Okay, awesome. How long have you been in practice?
I've been in practice for about, you would ask that question. I've got to do the math. So I've been doing therapy for about 8 years or so, and I've been doing certified sex therapy for the past couple of years, though I was also doing sex therapy prior under training of other sex therapists.
Okay, awesome. So how was the transition with you starting your own therapy company versus working under someone?
It was scary. I would definitely say that. It was definitely scary. I had started private practice 1 day a week while also working a full-time job. I actually call it my full-time part-time job. So I was really part-time, but working probably more hours than full-time folks.
Right.
So I was essentially working 7 days a week. And then after about a year, I went to 2 days private practice, 5 days of the part-time job. And it just slowly grew. And then it got to the point where I had to leave the other job. They didn't have space to accommodate my schedule. So I essentially went, head deep into starting or continuing my private practice full-time.
Okay, awesome. So in your industry and with you being in this particular practice, what is the most rewarding thing about being in this practice?
Ooh, for me, gosh, I know it sounds a little cliche. I guess what's really rewarding is seeing people come in and be able to find parts of themselves and be able to leave accepting that. Not saying that they feel drastically better, just that they've learned something about themselves, or even seeing some clients become very open to new ideas that previously they had not been open to or even knew about, but at least being open to it. Whether they accepted it, they wanted to put that into their life or not, they're at least open. So I feel like that for me is one of the most rewarding, is just seeing that people can really learn about themselves and grow and get to a better place for themselves.
Okay, awesome. So why do you think it is important for women and men as well, couples, and anybody to basically talk about sex, because that's something that is like a sacred topic?
Well, you really can't have sex until you talk about it.
Right.
So if you want to have sex, then we need to start talking about it a lot more. And what I find is most people who can't talk about sex, they have a lot of trouble having sex, especially with another person, because then there's another person there who might want to talk about sex or who doesn't, and then we don't know what to do. So I do work with individuals, couples, across the board. Just getting people to talk about sex, and sometimes it's kind of going back to the basics of, do you know what your lady parts look like? And, what did you learn about, your vagina and your vulva growing up? Or what did you learn about your penis? What messages did you get? So it's sometimes unpacking a lot of stuff as well, so that way we can talk openly and feel comfortable, and then be able to do that with other people.
Exactly, because I feel like most women that I've came across, it's like when you talk about sex, they're like, girl, what you say? Like, they're not, it's just so
it's taboo,
shocking.
or it's shameful, or you can only do it with certain people. So just being able to talk about it. And, like I said, most of the time it's kind of going back to the basics, and let's just start from the beginning and work forward.
Okay. So you do have a podcast. Tell me a little bit about your podcast.
So my podcast was started just to let people have an idea of what sex therapy is about, getting information out there from a trained professional, on topics that you might not talk about a lot. And I have a lot of people who come and they listen to a podcast who are like, I never thought I could talk about that, but I need to talk about this more. Or when you said, or when you talked about, it was great. It was just really to be put out there to help people find information and maybe let them feel more comfortable calling somebody or scheduling an appointment to talk more about, that concern they have, that, you know, you're not the only person who wants to talk about this, because I don't make something just for one person. It's typically a bunch of people who could benefit from it.
Right. So how do your clients typically find you?
Most find me through the internet. Typically late night Google searches I have found. I get a lot of late night emails. Luckily no phone calls. Please don't call late night, because it does go to my cell phone, which is my alarm clock next to my bed. Please send an email if you must at 2 a.m.
Right.
So mostly through Google. I do have a few colleagues, other professionals, healthcare professionals in the Atlanta area, who also refer as well. But, you know, again, sex is such a taboo, shameful topic that a lot of people are scared to ask about. So it's, let me go to the internet and see if I can find this myself.
Right. Okay. So for someone who is maybe dealing with an issue with their sexuality or with sex period, what would you say are a few things that they should, you know, try to help, what they should look up to try to help them?
Well, it's really, you know, individualized to the person. I would say, you know, there's a bunch of great articles, there's a bunch of great books out there. You know, you can find people on Instagram, sex therapists. I would really find a certified person, someone who has had training. There are a lot of great other supplemental services out there as well. Just knowing that when you tend to dig deep into your own soul and your own self, it can be a little painful and scary. And you want to make sure you have a person who's able to go through those feelings with you and that journey and support you. So, you know, it's one of those you can just start by putting in whatever it is you're wanting to find more about and see where it takes you. And like you would, you know, research anything, is find a good source. You know, find a source that looks like, oh, this person knows what they're talking about, or oh, this is, you know, their schooling or their background. If you can't find that information, I would say maybe stay clear. It might not be the best. There's also, you know, you can go to national organizations. One of mine is ASECT. That's where I'm certified, so you can find a bunch of information, like to find a professional, whether a therapist or an educator or counselor, or just they post articles about information as well. The American Association of Marriage and Family Therapy, I'm also a part of that. So again, you can find some information, you know, about relationships there. Some sexuality stuff as well. They're definitely adding that.
Okay, awesome. So I did read that you were mental health as well.
Yeah, so I'm trained, my background is marriage and family therapy. That's how I'm licensed with the state of Georgia. So I have a general training. Just look at me like you know, instead of being a primary care doctor, I have a specialty in something else. So you might go to your primary care doctor just for general stress or anxiety, but you go to your cardiologist if your heart's not doing too well. You know, so the cardiologist might be able to see, oh, there's something going on with your heart. We might need to send you to this person. That's essentially how I work. So I do a lot of general work around anxiety, stress, family transition, relationships. I just have an extra component to tie into it.
Okay, awesome. That sounds awesome. Like, you have a lot of stuff going on, like within the industries and services. And speaking of services, what are some of the top services that you get provide for your clients?
Yeah, so right now I work with a lot of men around ED, some form of ED, erectile dysfunction. And then I work with a lot of couples where there's a disconnect in the sexual relationship. Whether one person thinks they have a higher or lower desire than the other person, whether we just can't agree on, you know, when to have sex or the type of sex we want to have. Sometimes there's just also a relationship issue, meaning where we stopped connecting and bonding, which impacted sex. I work with a lot of women around sometimes sexual pain or sexual dysfunction. A lot of women who come saying they've never orgasmed, so we talk about that. Find out that a few of them actually had orgasm. They just didn't realize it because they were looking for something else that they read in the media, which again, media can get great information, but it's not individualized to every person. You know, or just helping, you know, some women work through a lot of messages they got about sex, their sexuality, in order to, you know, achieve orgasm, and that it's okay and this is pleasurable and fun. I do a little bit of trauma work, not too much. I don't have a trauma history training. I can do a little bit of trauma if there was some kind of trauma in the past. If there's something a little bit more intense, I do tend to refer out to a trained trauma therapist to do some of the work, and I can support the sexual part of that or the relationship. So those are the top areas that I get. I also work with alternative relationships, so I have a lot of clients who might be polyamory or in an open type relationship. Whether we're talking about the open relationship or not, they know and they're comfortable that I have that knowledge and training and open to that.
Okay, awesome. So do you do like free consultations, or what is your consultation process like?
Yeah, so a consultation is just a 10-minute phone call. It just gives you time to tell me more information about what you're wanting to achieve in therapy, what brings you in, me to ask some questions, share all that administrative stuff about payment options, how to schedule and get you set up. And then the first session really is just sharing more and letting you unpack all that and finding out what your goals are and how I can help you, giving some feedback, my recommendations, and then figuring out a path that we can take together to get you where you want.
Okay, awesome. So can you tell everyone how to find you on social media?
Yeah, I can. So I can be found on Instagram. You can Google Courtney Jeter LMFT or search Courtney Jeter LMFT on Instagram. Handle is at CJeterLMFT. I'm also on Facebook at the same handle. I'm also on LinkedIn for professional reasons as well. I do not interact with my clients via social media, though you're more than welcome to follow me and find information, because those are my professional pages, and I try to post information that might benefit all.
Okay, awesome. And how can one listen to your podcast?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, sexandrelationshiptherapist.com, and you can find, there's a podcast page that has a couple of podcasts listed, and then you can also go to SoundCloud, and we're trying to get them back on Apple iTunes. They were on there and they unfortunately got taken off for a moment, so we're getting them back up there.
Okay, awesome. Well, it was great speaking with you, Courtney.
You too.
I appreciate you for wanting to be on the interview series. My whole platform is about sharing as much information as I can, but other women, so that they can be able to understand what's around them and the people that are around them as well.
Yeah, of course.
So
thank you so much.
You're welcome. This is Patrina. I am checking out a Girl Let's Talk Atlanta Women Alive series. Today's guest was Miss Courtney Jeter. If you found her information very vital, please follow her, support her, and also schedule a consultation.
Thank you.